Is there anybody that would like to discuss the public hearing on the change to traffic law? It's just a cleanup to a lot of the violations and some lettering and so forth. It's no big major changes. Anybody? If not, motion to close public hearing number 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jeff?
Being enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a public hearing held on September 12, 2018, 7 p.m. at Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby adopt local law amendments to Town Code Chapter 195, specifically 195-35C, which local law amendments are as followed, with the words underlined to be added and those words stricken to be deleted. Penalties: offense, violation of vehicle and traffic law section 12021A1A, double parked, and 1202A1EB, parked on sidewalk, shall be punished by a fine of $40. Violation of vehicle and traffic law section 1202A1DC, blocked intersection, 1202A2A, blocked driveway, 306BB, uninspected motor vehicle, and 4011A1A, unregistered motor vehicle shall be punished by a fine of $50, and violation of vehicle and traffic law section 306BB, uninspected motor vehicle over 60 days, and 4011A1A, unregistered motor vehicle over 60 days shall be punished by a fine of $75. Be it further enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie has determined that this action is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review, and be it further enacted that the legal notice of the public hearing was posted on August 21st, 2018, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on August 28th, 2018, and be it further enacted that the said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any question on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of our public hearing. As far as agenda items, number 1 is appoint Dominic Dom, the police officer. 2, set a date for public hearing of special district budgets. 3, authorize the supervisor to sign a joint water board, Dutchess County Wastewater Authority addendum for East Fishkill Emergency Connection. Award a sanitary sewer pipe spot CIPP contract. Award an AWWTP new pumping equipment contract for the sewer department. 6, approve sale of surplus lands from Harris that will be taken off the agenda. 8, accept conveyance of an easement, 12 Old Mill Road, that's off the agenda. 9, a city and town SWAT agreements off the agenda. We have 1 special consent item for the agenda, and that's set a date for a public hearing on the community block grant for Over Rocker Road Park, which was received from the federal government. It's a hearing to accept that grant when the time comes. You make a motion to open the floor for public comment?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody like to discuss any item on the agenda? If not, make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Jessica.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Dominic Tom to the position of full-time police officer under the provisions of the Civil Service Law at the starting yearly salary of $59,000.37, effective September 24th, 2018, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 26 nor more than 52 weeks per Civil Service Law. And be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Good motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Welcome aboard.
He takes it back. No, congratulations.
$59,800.
Okay, Michael.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby set the third day of October 2018 at 7 p.m. at Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Overrocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the time, date, and place of a public hearing in regard to Special District Assessment Roll, which concerns the Water District, Sewer Districts, and Drainage Districts of the Town of Poughkeepsie. And be it further resolved that the said proposed Special District budgets are on file in Town of Poughkeepsie Clerk's office and available for review. So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any questions on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to endorse the town's consent to the execution of Addendum Number 5 to the Poughkeepsie Water Sale and Purchase Agreement between the Poughkeepsie Joint Water Board and the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority to allow for a 90-day emergency water sale to the town of East Fishkill's Fishkill Plains Water District and Brettview Water District. And be it further resolved that this agreement represents part of the ongoing administration of the Town of Poughkeepsie's affairs with no change which would create a substantial adverse environmental impact and is a Type 2 action requiring no secret review. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any question on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby award the bid for sanitary sewer pipe CIPP spot repairs 2018 to the low bidder, PK Songer Plumbing, at a bid price of $115,500 pursuant to the recommendation of the town engineer, and be further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute a contract agreement with PK Songer Plumbing. So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Any question on this one? This is a contract, and this is what we're under the consent order from the DEC, and this is a save with the I&I to do a lot of caulking and piping on all the small pipes that were TV'd and leaked. So this is to get us up to date and stay in timeframe with the consent order from the DEC. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby awarded the bid for the Arlington Wastewater Treatment Plant, new pumping equipment for non-potable processed water supply to low bidder PK Songer Plumbing at the bid price of $210,000 pursuant to the recommendation of town engineer. Be it further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute a contract with PK Songer Plumbing. So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Any question on that one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
So what do you want to do? Resolution?
We're on to 10.
Resolution 10, right? Okay, be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit: set date for public hearing, community development block grant over Rocker Road Park, and be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the Town Board, an item may be removed from this list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any question on this one? The only comment is that this usually comes out in like May. We had to wait for the federal government to pass the budget to see how much we got, and we got the full amount. They didn't cut anything. So the county who takes care of this for us. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby set the third day of October 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as for the date, time, and place of a public hearing to consider and thereafter vote on acceptance of grant monies for improving the Over Rocker Park from the County of Dutchess through the Community Development Block Grant Program for the year 2018, of which the Town of Poughkeepsie is a member. So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Any question on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of the town board meeting. Make a motion to suspend the rules for any item relating to the town at all.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody like to discuss any town business at all? This is your time to speak. If you have anything you want to bring up at all. Just come on up. When you just come up, just state your name, sit, and just pull the microphone up.
Oh,
Oh,
that one's not working. You want to try that one?
Just tap it and see if it works. Nope.
Uh-oh.
Is it on?
It's not working either.
Let's see if the handheld.
You could hear that one's working. No?
Oh.
Are we hot in the box?
Yeah.
Sorry, just give us 1 second.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everyone can hear you.
Jim, does your other one work? Next to you? No, the one right
Next to
next to you.
Yeah, sure, right?
Yeah, you can sit over there if you want, and make it a little easier. That way we can at least get it recorded for you. Sorry about that.
Hello, my name is John V. I am 12 years old. I'm a Girl Scout here today on the behalf of my neighborhood at Stratford Farms in Poughkeepsie. We are presenting a petition to the town board to transfer 2 private streets, Stratford Drive and Thames Road, to public roads.
I wonder if that one's working.
Once,
I don't think that's loud either. Yeah, try this. Try it.
Microphone.
Yeah, shift.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could just hear her.
you're doing a good job.
Hello everyone, my name is John V. I am 12 years old. I'm a Girl Scout here today on the behalf of my neighborhood at Stratford Farms in Poughkeepsie. We are presenting a petition to the town board to transfer 2 private streets, Stratford Drive and Thames Road, to public roads. Once these roads are public, the school buses can drive inside the neighborhood. Our current bus stop is almost 3/4 of a mile from our houses, which makes it hazardous and unsafe for school children. Children have to walk up a long hill while carrying backpacks every day. They also have to walk in bad weather, such as snow, rain, or extreme heat and cold. During winter months, it is dark outside when children have to walk to the school bus in the morning, and when they stay later for after-school activities. Children are known to be the targets of predators. In the fall of 2017, an unknown man followed a female child in his van when she was walking home from the school bus. The police were notified. I have collected 33 signatures from all our neighbors on the petition, and we all urge the town board officials to make a priority to transfer Stratford Drive and Thames Road from private to public. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Thanks for putting that effort in to get your petitions. You want to?
Yeah. So as we spoke today, as much as I know for myself, and I spoke to Jay and got him up to speed, are sympathetic to the situation, and I know I have 3 daughters myself. At the time, the town can't take over the roads. The developer has until 2021 to finish what he has to do on the roads for them to be in shape for the town to go ahead and take them over. So as much as we would like to help, it's not a town board decision at the moment. We can't just go ahead and take the roads over as they are now. Yeah? Sure.
As far as I understand,
Could you come use a microphone, please?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
so I'm one of those neighbors and I'm a mom of 3. We have at least 2 kindergartners at the moment. They have to walk by themselves. The bus is not taking them up, and actually the law says kindergartners have to pick up by the driveway. So at least the law is not followed in this situation. The other one, what I understood, is the town could give the bus, the transportation service, an exception permit for the school year so that the bus can drive. Because at the point is, sometimes the school buses came up for some kids, not for all. So when we start this discussion and says sometimes the bus is coming up to the neighborhood and drop off kids and sometimes not, please help us understand with our little kids who makes the decision. We know there's something between the bidder and the town. We do not know what they have to do or not. But we paying taxes. And it's not less what we pay, but we don't get the service. And our kids are really afraid about it. They stand on a corner of 2 streets. Nobody takes care in the morning about these kids. So what has to happen? Do we need an accident with one child's death that something happen on that? I hope we don't have to wait for this. And we hope that you find a compromise on that. For us, we don't ask for not that you pick up the kids on every house, but give us maybe a stop closer to our houses, because that's the request we have.
No, that would be, I'm sorry, Jay.
Go ahead.
That, all of those things, as far as the buses coming up onto your road, where they are willing to stop, that's all something that would have to be taken up with the Arlington Department of Transportation.
But they tell us they only can officially can talk to us if you give them a permit. So that's now the part on that transportation tell us they need something from you.
They can't go into the development because it's private roads, is what I spoke to them yesterday, and I just wanted to make sure that I was correct in assuming that, and that is what they said, is that because it's a private development, for their legal reasons, their buses can't enter and go into.
But they told us, so I talk also to them, and he says, because it's private, if they get a permit from you, that it's okay that they enter a private street, then it would be fine. So we have always different sides of communication, and we as the,
If I could, I went through this a number of years ago with the Gables. Mr. Rettle, the owner of the Gables, was going to let all the children that lived in the complex go to the clubhouse and be picked up there, but I could not get the school district would not drive into a private road. So they can drive into a private road if they want to. The town can't authorize them to drive in there. If their buses can make it and the road is sturdy enough for the bus and they could turn around and all that, then that's up to the school district and the person who owns that land. The town is willing to take over and convey that land to us once the road is up to spec. It's not up to spec yet. We have no authority to do so.
okay. So
We would love to help, but there's nothing we could do at this point in time.
so you tell us we have to go with the petition to the,
You have to go to the person who owns that road and ask him to hurry up and get it done.
What my advice earlier was, when I was speaking on the phone, was that, it might be a good idea to get together and all go to your property owner or the development owner, and sit down and say what the concerns are and say, we spoke with the town and they let us know that the roads aren't up to spec for them to take them over. How long is this going to take so that,
we had this conversation, by the way, several times, and we heard different stories from them. So
Sure.
that's something, what we say there is, let's say, hidden information, or it's information they are not available for us, and it's on our back for that, because you telling us this, they telling us that, so we never know what is really the truth on that. We don't say that anybody is lying, but we are in the middle of that. So, and it goes with 2021. So the builder told us he tried several times to hand over the street to the town, and says he did everything he has to do. But so that's the point on that. So where we should start with that, we only be the people that are living in, and we're paying your taxes.
You would
and
say-
we only looking and ask for support on that, because that's for our kids.
We give you the support we can give you. You stated that the school buses used to go up there at one point?
yeah.
Because that's a school bus policy. I mean, every mobile home park we have, they don't go in, down in Wappingers, they don't go into the parks either because it's private property. That's their policy. There's no such thing as a permit for us to allow them on the road. And not to get into the discrepancies with the builder at all, but one of the major things that he has to do is if you drive up your street and you look at your drains, the second coat of blacktop isn't even down yet. That's the second coat. You're supposed to have street lights. So I won't say anymore, but I'm not going to lie to you. These are parts of the things that he's supposed to have in place. And not to get in a nitpicking contest, but just to look at that, these are things, they're just the beginning things on a list of things that he should have in place prior to us taking the roads over. Because we're not supposed to take them over, as you said, you pay taxes, that we have to take them over and fix them right after he gives them. They have to be up to our standards.
So we see it more as the point we're living there, we pay the taxes, we see for what service we pay taxes. At the moment, we paying for
but
something.
the problem is you're living on a private road. We don't own the road, so we don't have the control to help. If you were on a public road, the town board would be able to vote on action and take action, but we can't because we don't own the land.
That's why we say it's home. That's
Right.
just,
Man, we have the same problem with snow removal in a division in the 4th Ward, and hopefully that's going to be resolved for this coming winter. But we had the same problem. The property owner needed to bring it up to full spec before we could take it over.
okay.
So it's not new to us, but we do deal with it on an everyday basis.
And we will get the specifications that are required by the builder to make the.
We can get you those.
Yeah, I can get you the rough draft that we have, and he has had a copy of those for some time now.
It would help us if we go in a conversation back with him and he tell us A, and it's actually B. So we need something that we can say, but the town told us you have to do this and this, because otherwise it's a non-less conversation.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Ms. Lopez said you were going to give us in writing what he's done so far and what he still needs to do. If it can be in writing, we would have the proof. Okay, this is what the town is saying. Then we would have more leverage with
Sure.
the
Yeah, like I told you, I didn't get a chance to from the last time we spoke today, but myself and Jay and Jim Nelson will sit down and figure out something that's appropriate to give you, and so that you can have, because we are comfortable in what we're telling you. We're not trying to steer you in the wrong way or push you out the door by any means. Our hands are tied, and there truly isn't anything we can do.
Lopez being the councilwoman, would you be able to sit in with a meeting with the builder if you call for that, and we can all as neighbors sit and have a conversation about this?
I could do that, sure. Yep. It wouldn't be the first time. I've been in meetings with him in the past, with the residents, trying to fight for them, so I'm happy to do it again, sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where is that usually held? Is
Here,
it here? Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Sir, come on up.
You guys got to speak into the mic, though, because we're not getting this on tape, okay?
Good evening. I'm Burke Schindler. I live at 98 Stratford Drive. My question for you, Councilwoman Jessica, is you said you've had meetings with this builder. There's good builders, okay builders, and poor builders. What is the town's history with this builder as far as does he seem to be a reputable builder that's going to meet these punch list items that are required, or does this look like it will be something that potentially is going to drag out and end up in not getting completed anywhere near the 2021 deadline?
I mean, I can't sit in front of you and pretend to speculate on what's going to happen. We have not had any conversations that would lead me to believe that he doesn't intend to get this project finished, and everything that he said in the last meeting that I had was that he is right on schedule. They are thriving financially and are going to finish this build out by the time they said they were going to in 2021. So that is what we have heard so far, and are yet to hear anything different.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
I spoke to Andy Learn today, and he said he has a list for me. Sure.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? A motion to resume the rules?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
That brings,
Thank you.
no, thank you. And thank you for taking your time to go out and get that petition.
I would give that petition to the builder.
I kept a copy, and they also have a copy. I advised her the same on the phone today.
That's the end of our agenda, and we'll go to committee of the whole from here. The first thing we have is discussion with Kevin Marin of Ginsburg Development. Come on up, Kevin. Yeah, might as well.
But
Yeah.
Howard. This is not the one. I'm going to distribute a short handout. Is that all right, Jay?
Sure, you can just pass it right down if you want,
Yeah,
Kevin.
all right.
As nobody knows, this is Ginsburg Development, which is Casper Kill Golf Course. And it's been sitting stagnant. Kevin just would like to come and talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, good evening. Nice to see, again, those of you who I have met before. Nice to meet those of you who I've never met. My name's Kevin Marinin. I'm from Ginsburg Development. Our company owns the property commonly called the Casper Kill Country Club. And we have owned it since 2004, I believe. So I came here tonight to talk to the full town board. I've had some meetings during the course of this year that included Mr. Welty, Mr. Baisley, and Mr. Woolever to explore the possibility of the town being willing to alter the zoning regime that governs the property. We would like to do some development on the property, generally speaking. what we've got is a very large 370 acre piece of property fronting on Route 9, stretches far, far to the east away from Route 9. It centers on some unused pieces, pieces that now are the Davis Furniture outlet. We're adjacent to the Friendly Ford dealership. In fact, the vehicles parked on the north end of the Friendly Ford property, well, they're not on the property, they're on our property. And Mr. Khan leases that land from us, parks his cars there. We do have, as you can see on the top sheet, which is just a copy of the existing town zoning map, we have a circular zoning designation for the Crown Heights Town Center, which is a very, well, it's absolutely circular. Only half of it extends onto our side of Route 9. The other side of that circle is on the west side of the road. Beyond the town center semicircle, I'll call it, all our property that with the original Casperkill holding, 360 acres, is zoned for 2-acre single-family residential lots. Much of it fronting right on Route 9. And that regime of zoning governing the entire property is really preventing us from getting, we'd like to bring in a proposal sometime that would include a mixed-use development on the frontage part of the Casperkill property. If you can see from one of the second page of the handout, the property, our property is split in two by the Casperkill Creek, which flows through the middle of the property. The property to the east of the Casperkill Creek of ours, that extends further east, not near the Route 9 frontage, in all candor, you might as well leave that zoning alone. We have never, after in owning this for far more than 10 years, we've never found a feasible means of throwing a road across that creek. Being as it is, it's a creek, it's got its own width, but it's surrounded by wetlands of varying widths, some narrow, some deep, and beyond that, where those wetlands exist, we have to observe the town buffer setbacks from the borders of wetlands, so that the crossing of the creek is not within the foreseeable future in terms of any kind of public or up to snuff road. We do have a few wooden crossings on it right now used by golfers and golf carts, because those are in the middle of the golf course. So we engaged in some discussions here about potentially changing the zoning designation of the property on the Route 9 side of the creek to allow for some mixed-use development. In fact, I drafted something, Mr. Welty has it, but so we got to the point where those discussions, in the opinion of Mr. Baisley and Mr. Woolliver, were needed to come to the full town board to be first exhibited like this and discussed in any depth you'd want. So that's what I brought here tonight. We would, as I say, like to be able to come in and offer some kind of development proposal on the, accessing the property from Route 9 only. And at the moment, we're sort of stymied from doing so, and we're hoping that the town board would consider some alteration that would allow something like that to occur.
Well, I'm delighted to see how much open space, because I was with was it more than 10 years ago, with the other development plan, where it was going to be all houses through the back here, and the neighbors were just up in arms. So this to me, looks like a much, much better plan, and keeping the density closer to Route 9, it looks like a good idea, and I'm also thinking of the Ford House. You
Well,
could
I
fit
just
in there.
wanted to clarify that these plans are simply conceptual,
Conceptual.
and neither of them are presently allowed under the zoning regime in place. And actually, then I would say neither of them, that they're actually the same plan. One is just a blow-up of
Right.
the frontage aspect, and one shows the entire property. But I didn't want to mislead anyone here into thinking that this is some kind of proposal that's coming in. It is a conceptual thing of the kind of things that could be possible if a wider range of uses was allowed. And yes, it was longer than 10 years ago when
Yes.
that proposal was made. And yes, you are correct in your memory that it did originally include development across the creek.
So,
And as a practical matter, we did engineer a bridge across the creek to accommodate that, and the cost of the bridge was $6 million or some of the nonsensical thing, due to the fact that you had to cross wetlands, it had to cross buffers, so it had to be lifted up in the air, and it became the creek itself is no wider than the distance, Mrs.
Right.
Shershin, between you and me. But the bridge had to be 600 feet long to meet all the various requirements of the town, of the DEC, and, believe it or not, of FEMA,
Yes.
because they govern flood, and it has a flood zone, a flood insurance rule, and all the various things that go along with that. So it had to allow a certain amount of clearance under any kind of new fixed span. And despite the fact that the creek looks very harmless, when it rains,
Yeah.
it becomes a bigger creek. Yeah, right now, it goes into the wetlands along the creek, and then it becomes a much wider creek.
Mr. Meriden, I agree with Ann. This is a much better plan than what you came in with years ago for just housing, but we can certainly sit down and discuss some of these, but I'd rather see you come in with something that you really want to build and then work off of that.
Well, that is, true. I'd rather do that too, Mr. Savone, but, I will, in all candor, we're residential guys, by and large, and we would need to bring in others to do various of the commercial things, which we think are a very good idea, because we do think a mixed-use aspect, as opposed to some purely residential thing, would be most beneficial to everybody. And it's very difficult to come in with some proposal and get some other third-party company, development company, commercial development company, to be interested when I'm telling them I've got 2-acre single-family zoning.
Like how he wanted to start this was, knows none of the zoning fits. He wants to come in and think, is this something that we may be more in favor of, which you said, to give him a starting process to go forward.
Right.
They don't want to go and spend a fortune.
No, I
It's a big
understand.
plan. But this is just a start, because one of the discussions we had, we're going through the comprehensive plan. Do we want to do it now? Do we want to wait? Do we want to run it past them? Because we're going through all our hearings to get other opinions from other people as we do this, but not at the same time have them spend a fortune to try to go forward.
I get
This is a
that.
very basic beginning.
But there's a lot of different choices here.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we could certainly sit down and discuss some of these things that we think would fit well, and that gives you a starting point. So I would tell you to sit down, Mr. Woolover, maybe the supervisor, Michael Welty, and come in with something that you really think you could put together, and then go out and do your homework and get your, come back in, and we could look at changing the zoning. Instead of, I would rather change the zoning and do it right, but I'd rather know what you really want. How many units do you really want? Are you really going to get an equestrian center?
Okay. I'll tell you,
I really want.
we could certainly come up with a plausible proposal and discuss it with, the supervisor, Mr. Woolover, Mr. Welty, so that it is more concrete and that you can,
I'm not looking to have you out and spend a ton of money, but
Yeah.
you have a lot here. Well, pick what you really think you could deliver and what you really would like to do. Come back in, and then we can look at really doing something and making a zoning change.
I think the fact that there's already the center overlay there, it's really taking what is a geometric circle and making it fit the topography of the landscape a bit better. So I'm generally in favor. I think the more specificity we have, the better off everyone is. But the idea is sound of just making this pedestrian friendly area.
Right.
Obviously, across the 5-lane highway that is Route 9 right there, that it's not going to work so well as a circle. So if we're thinking of it as two separate halves, then making the half make sense with the landscape is wise.
Okay.
I think it's
Anyone else?
perfect, like you said, go before the comprehensive review. We have those meetings that are set. As a matter of fact, I think Jay's going to put a little blurb on there soon. Starting on September 26th here at the Town Hall, we have our first meeting, the comprehensive plan review meeting. It'd be a good time to bring, something like this, or we'll bring it forward and discuss that as well. That would be the perfect place really to start that conversation, to see what the committee feels about that.
I think overall what you're hearing is we're receptive to it and we do like the idea. But we just can't give you a blank check until you actually.
Well, I didn't
Tell us
think
what
I
you're
was
thinking.
going to get such a blank check.
No.
If you gave me one, I would.
Yeah,
I wasn't quite putting those eggs in my basket. No.
I think he got what he was looking for, the fact that we're just not going to
Yeah.
chase him away.
I think the point was to bring it to the attention of the entire town board. And if 4 of the members stood up and told me to get out, we'd have a different kind of response. But I think what I'm hearing is, no, that we would all like to come to some sensible conclusion about how this property should get developed and put that in place when it's in the right order. Okay.
Okay, and one more question here, because you've got some senior housing in here. Do you have experience with that? You said you're mainly residential. Have you had experience with senior housing?
The company has.
Okay, good.
I am not the individual in the company
Right.
who has, but the
Because-
company has developed 3 or 4 senior housing complexes, yes.
Because I've seen this work very well in other areas, and it's frankly something we're lacking in the town, where you have a unit where people can progress through them, that you can start out independent living and move into assisted living and move into a nursing home.
That's true.
Are you there?
Now, I will say the company has not done a nursing home, which is a medical facility, and we're not medical, but we have done senior housing up to
Okay.
the point of congregate care style housing, short of needing medical licenses, which we are not
Okay.
in the business of
Oh,
having.
I see. So you're just one step there, where you have rehab and extended care stay. Okay.
Yeah, no, that would require us to find a medically licensed operator of such facilities, which we're quite willing to do. I mean, there's a bunch of things that we don't do that might be appropriate to happen in here. And we would be quite willing to go out and find those, call them partners, to deal with those pieces. And we're residential folks. And we have owned this long enough. The only other project we've done here in the county, I will confess, is the one in the city, down by Vassar Hospital, the condominium project called Hudson Point. Said we'd like to do more. The financial crisis years ago put all of this on hold. It's been on hold long enough. We're running a golf course over there, which, I guess I'm in a public meeting, but it's not a worthwhile endeavor. So I won't say anymore. And we'd like to put the property to better use for both our purposes, we're, for-profit company, and for public purposes, because it's sitting there sort of fallow and not generating anything for anybody.
It's in a great space, and it's sort of.
All right, thanks, Kevin. We'll work on it. and
Okay.
You can get back to us on that.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Nice to see you.
Now on to committee reports. Finance?
Nothing to report.
Well, I'll add the finance. We got our audit back. It should be on the website at this time. We wants to review it. Fire advisory,
Nothing to report.
government operations,
Nothing to report.
land use and planning,
Nothing to report.
personnel,
Nothing to report. Oh, well.
recreation.
Yes! We have a report. Okay, this weekend, Sunday, is the Peach Hill Apple Ramble and Fall Festival. They're going to have horse-drawn wagons, a maze, apple pressing, and hiking. So hopefully the weather will be nicer than it is now, and people will head out to Peach Hill on Sunday. And I'm sorry, I don't have the hours for that. And then I'm happy to report that the senior center, while they were closed down, got repainted, and we're going to be celebrating the 5th anniversary of the senior center. That's October 6th. It's from 11 till 2, and they're calling it a taste of the senior center. So there'll be samples of the classes there. You're going to be able to try, 5 minutes of Zumba or 5 minutes of armchair yoga and 5 minutes of a craft class. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's October 6th.
The cider festival is 1 to 4 on Sunday.
Okay, thank you. No problem. Technology. The cider festival is 1 to 4, so it's Sunday afternoon.
Okay. Water, sewer, and highway? No meeting? Okay. That's the end of our committee reports.
Did you just want to plug, you're
I'm
plugged
going to
in.
plug that right now. Yeah, as everybody might know, we've started our comprehensive plan review, and they're to the point now, they've had 2 or 3 meetings, and they're going to go reach out to the community to try to get the input from the community on what they think works in the town, what they think doesn't work in the town. There'll be open meetings. They're having 3 workshop sessions. The first one's Wednesday, the 26th of September, 7 to 9 p.m. right here in Town Hall. The second one will be Tuesday, October 9th, 2018, 7 p.m. at the library on Boardman Road. And workshop 3 will be Thursday, October 11th at our senior center located on Abe's Way in the town. Doesn't matter where you live in the town, all these 3 sessions are open to everybody. And they also meet here the 4th Wednesday of the month at 5 o'clock, which is open to the public. You can sit and listen to what's going on if you're interested, or what you think works, what you think we need. As you discussed with the gentleman who was just here, discussing a project that was changed during our last master plan, and they haven't touched anything, that this is your time to help us create what you want to see as a town going forward. So anybody that's willing to come out or want to come out, and if you're not available to come out, there's a piece on our website where you can put your input on there that'll be read through the committee. So if you can't come out, we'll still like to have your opinion no matter how we get it.
Each one's held at 7 p.m.
79, yep.
Correct.
Right.
Yep. Anybody got anything else? Yeah, Jeff?
Got some here. Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby adjourn to executive session to consider the following: to discuss matters which are exempt under the open meeting law, including matters subject to the attorney-client privilege. So move.
Second.
Town board goes into executive session at 7:44 p.m. Thank you. Anybody need signatures back there?
Digital copies.
You can come up here and somebody up here will sign them.
You can actually do that like right